Welcome back to another class on Evean Hazaer Halacha series. We are in Siman Aleph in Halacha Yud in the Pilchei Teshuv in Ot Vav in the Berheitav in Ot Chav Aleph. This will be part 12c of the Shiur. Before I begin today's Berheitav, let me just go over with you some of the things. Today's class is going to be a little bit different in general, when you are learning halachot, especially when you want to better understand the sugya. You want to always know who the author is, meaning you want to know the names of the rabbis. Also, you want to know which year they were born and which year they died. Why is that important? If you pay close attention over here, I wrote over here the timeline. Right, we're right now in year 2025. In the 1000th year till the 1500, it was the Rishonim. From the 1500s to the 1700s, early Achronim. From the 1700s to the 1900s, the classic Achronim. From the 1900s and on, I wrote over here on top, is the later Achronim. Now, what is this? How does this help us? Whenever you know when they were born and when they died, you are able to understand how much each posek, how much weight they carry. So, I'll make this simple over here. When it says after the 1900s, the later Achronim, that's a little bit simple. Why? Because we're dealing with the Rav Chaim, Ben Ish Chai, Rav Chaim Igal, all the Gedolim, right? But before then, not everybody's really aware of them. Before this, also before this for sure we're not aware. So that's just very important to go ahead and know when they were born, when they died, to see were they Rishonim, early Rishonim, later Rishonim, were they early Achronim, late Achronim, classic Achronim, and so on and so forth. So I want to just show you here today, we're going to see that we've been speaking this whole time by an Arusa. If there is the Cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom, if it's applicable by the Arusa. Today we're going to see opinions that hold by the Arusa, the Cherem is not applicable. And some opinions are going to hold that the Cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom is applicable by the Arusa. I just want to show you something. If you guys remember in the beginning when we just began to do this, not now, when we just first did the Halacha, I told you that there's many opinions when it comes to understanding the Ramah. So today we're going to see who holds when it comes to the Arusa, there is the Cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom, and who holds that when it comes to the Arusa, there is no Cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom. Just to clarify, whenever I say that there's no Cherem by the Arusa, you need to understand, it's not really going on, it's on the Arusa, but it's more speaking about the Arus that is married to the Arusa. Now, if I say that there's a Cherem on the Arusa, that means the Arus is not allowed to go ahead and get another wife for himself. We're going to see today, Be'ezrat Hashem B'lineder, that which opinions hold Yesh Cherem by the Arusa. Which opinions? We'll see some opinions in the Ramah, they wanted to learn that the Ramah holds that there is a Cherem in the Arusa. Hacham Tzvi holds that there is Cherem in the Arusa. The Teshuvah Maimonid, the Maharil, all of them hold that there is Cherem in the Arusa. Who doesn't hold that? Who says that there is no Cherem in the Arusa? Shulchan Aruch, some opinions in the Ramah will tell you. Also, the Ramah will learn that there is no Cherem in the Arusa. The Shud Yaakov, he made it Pesach like the Maharik, Mabit, and the Maharshdam. Now, before we read the Berheitav, just want to go over their names and their dates. So let's start with who holds that there's no Cherem by the Arusa, the Shulchan Aruch. Everybody knows what the Shulchan Aruch is. That's Rabbi Yosef Karo. When was he born? 1488. When did he die? 1575. So if we pay close attention, he was born in the times of the Rishonim, and he died later in the times of the Achronim. So basically, he is the later of the Rishonim, early Achronim. That is Rabbi Yosef Karo. Now, when we move on to the Ramah, who is the Ramah? Rabbi Moshe Isserles. He was born 1530, died 1572. So he is already in the early Achronim. Rabotai. 1530 till 1572. Very young. The Ramah died at a very, very young age. Lolin Rabotai. So he's beginning from the earlier Achronim. Shvut Yaakov, who's the Shvut Yaakov? Rabbi Yaakov Reisher. Born 1661, died 1733. He is already over here. Where the later Achronim, meaning, when I say later, okay, so I'm going to put it like this. Let's put it like this. Just to clarify it. You have over here, let's say this is the earlier Rishonim, this is the point. Point A will be early Rishonim. Point B will be the later Rishonim. Point A will be the early Achronim. Point B will be the later Achronim. In the classic Achronim also you're going to see you had the classic Achronim which were earlier, the A point, and then the B point. So on and so forth, okay? So whenever we're looking over here right now, the Shvut Yaakov, Rabbi Yaakov Reisher, if he's born 1661, he was born in the early Achronim, but in the later period of the early Achronim, and he went into the earlier period of the classic Achronim. All right, 1733. He went and he made a Pesach like the Maharik. Who was the Maharik? Rabbi Yosef Kolon. If you pay close attention, I don't know if you guys can see it over here. This is like right here. You see this over here? This is a Yud. So watch this. K is like Moreno Harav. Rav Yosef Kolon. That's what it is. Rabbi Yosef Kolon. That's what it's Kamaharik. That's his name is spelled over here. He was born 1420 to 1480. So he is for sure in the later part of the Rishonim. Then we have Mabit. When was the Mabit born? 1500 to 1580. Some say he was born actually 1505 and he died 1585. So what's the Mabit? If you pay close attention, Mabit, Moshe, Bet, Ben, Yud, Yosef, Tet, Tarani. D means from. So the Mabit was Rab Moshe ben Yosef di Tarani. He was from the place called Tarani. Maharshdam. Maharshdam was Rabbi Shmuel di Midini. Moreno Harav Rav Shmuel di Midini. Maharshdam. He was born 1505, he died 1589. Again, we're looking over here that he was the early Achronim, the Mabit and the Maharshdam, the early Achronim, and they died in that period of the earlier Achronim. In any event, we see over here the Shulchan Aruch, the Ramah, the Shut Yaakov, the Maharik, Mabit, Maharshdam, all of them hold by the Arusa, the Cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable. Now, to make this clear, whenever we say by the Arusa that the Cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable, understand that it's going on the Arus. That means to say that if the Arus is married, not married, if the Arus did Kiddushin with the Arusa, he's not allowed to take another wife on top of her. That's what will be if you hold that there is a Cherem. But if we're going to say that there is no Cherem Rabbeinu Gershom, the Arus who is Mikudeshin, who did Kiddushin with the Arusa, according to these opinions, since they hold the Cherem Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable, they're going to tell you that the Arus is allowed to go ahead and take for himself another wife on top of the Arusa. Okay, now we saw this case. Now we're going to move on to Yesh Cherem. Who are the ones that hold that there is a Cherem by the Arusa? Again, remember, whenever I say that there is Cherem by the Arusa, we're going on, I should have wrote it down. Let me just write it over here. Whenever we say Yesh Cherem, Ein Cherem, we're really going on the Arus, because he's the main guy, right? He's the one who wants to get remarried. Okay? We're going really when we say Yesh Cherem, Ein Cherem, even though we say that there's no, even though we're saying that there is a Cherem by the Arusa, or there's no Cherem by the Arusa, we're really referring to the Arus. That once he did Kiddush with the Arusa, according to them, he's not allowed to get married to another woman. But according to them that hold that there's no Cherem Rabbeinu Gershom, we're going to tell you that the Arus is allowed to go ahead and get married to another woman. All right. Let's move forward. Again, Yesh Cherem, who are the ones that hold that there is a Cherem in the Arusa? We saw some opinions in the Ramah, even though over here we saw also opinions in the Ramah. We've been doing it many times, Rabotai, Different opinions want to learn the Ramah different. Some want to learn the Ramah holds there's no cherem by the arusa, which is really by the arus. Some want to hold that there is a cherem in the Ramah, that Ramah will tell you that there is a cherem by the arusa, once again, which is really by the arus. Okay, so the Ramah we know, which is Rabbi Moshe Isserlich, Rabbi Moshe Isserlis, 1530 to 1572. Chacham Tzvi holds that there is a cherem by the arusa. Chacham Tzvi was Rabbi Tzvi Hirsch Ashkenazi. He was born 1656, died 1718. Once again, we pay close attention. 1656, he was in the early Achronim section, but he was one of the late Achronim over here, and he went into the earlier classic Achronim. Teshuvah Maimoni. In this Teshuvah Maimoni, there is a problem. Why do I say that there is a problem? Because someone say that the author of the Teshuvah Maimoni, it's a lot of Ashkenazi rabbis, but they want to attribute it to the Hagaot Maimonid. Who's the Hagaot Maimonid? That is Rabbi Meir HaKohen of Rottenburg. He was born 1260, died 1298. Very young also. Rabotai, very young. Again, we pay close attention, 1260 to 1298. He is right over here with the Rishonim, the early Rishonim. Maharil, Rabbi Yaakov Halevi ben Moshe Mulin. He was born 1363, again, also in the Rishonim, in the later period of the Rishonim, 1363 till 1427. All right, that's what we're going to see today, Be'ezrat Hashem B'l Neder. One more time. Which opinions hold that there is a cherem by the arusa? Ramah, Chacham Tzvi, Teshuvah Maimoni, Maharil. Which hold that there's no cherem by the arusa? Shulchan Aruch, Ramah, Shud Yaakov, Maharik, Mabit, and the Maharshdam. Okay, so now we're going to begin the Ber Heitev in Ot Chav Aleph. Ubeguf Adin, in the law itself, Cholek Chacham Tzvi b'teshuvato, in the law itself of, does the cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom apply to the arusa or not? The Chacham Tzvi, he argued in his response in Siman Kuf Chav Daled, Upasak, and he made a Pasak Halacha, the ba'arusa nami hichrim Rabbeinu Gershom. By the arusa, the cherem Rabbeinu Gershom is also applicable. It's not only applicable on a woman who is married. It's not going only on married women. It's also going on women that only were in the first stage of the process of Kiddushin. Rabbeinu Gershom also made the cherem on them. So that's Chacham Tzvi. Ramah we saw, Chacham Tzvi. V'chei pasak b'teshuvah Maimonit, so to the Teshuvah Maimonit made Pasak Halacha, that there is a cherem by the arusa. In Siman Lamedal, Umahari Sigal, which he says we're Maharil, in Siman Tzadik Vav. So we have the Maharil. Aval, however, b'teshuvah Shvut Yaakov Chelek Bet Siman Kuf Yud Bet. However, the teshuvah, in the response of the Shvut Yaakov, right over here, in Chelek Bet Siman Kuf Yud Bet, u'bechelek Aleph Siman Tzadik Bet, Pasak ke Maharik. He made a Pasak Halacha like the Maharik. The ba'arusa lo hichrim, that by the arusa, Rabbeinu Gershom never made a cherem. When did Rabbeinu Gershom make a cherem? He only made it if the guy is married. He did the second stage of the process, which is called nisu'in. Then we're going to tell you the cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom is applicable. But if he still didn't do the second process of nisu'in, he's only in the kiddushin stage, we're going to tell you that the cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable. That's how the Shud Yaakov argues on. V'chein katav Mabit, so too the Mabit wrote, Chelek Bet, Siman Reish Tet, U'Maharshdam, and also the Maharsham wrote that, Chelek Evean Hazaer, Siman Ayin Chet, that what the ba'arusa lo hichrim. When it comes to the arusa, they don't make a cherem. So Rabotai, the bottom line is, we see over here, very important. Whenever we look back into the Shulchan Aruch, let's just do this to the Shulchan Aruch. Whenever you look back into the Shulchan Aruch, when it says in Siman Aleph in Halacha Yud, Rabbeinu Gershom hichrim ala noseh al ishto, Shulchan Aruch clearly says, Rabbeinu Gershom made a cherem on the one who marries a woman on his wife, not on the woman that he's in the first stage of the marriage. and his wife, meaning that he even did the second stage of marriage. But when you're dealing with the Yevama, lo hichrim, he didn't make a cherem. V'chein ba'arusa, and so too by the arusa, he didn't make the cherem. Came the reminder, Rama says, if he does not want to marry, but rather he wants to divorce her. And we saw many ways to understand it. Comes out over here, Rabotai, that this piece over here, if there's a cherem on the arusa or not, it's not so simple. As you can see, it's a very, very big machloket amongst the Rishonim and Achornim, basically the poskim. Comes out, according to the Sephardim, we're going to go with the Shulchan Aruch, that the cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable by the arus. According to the Ashkenazim, that Rabotai is the machloket. And we saw whenever we have doubts, if we are able to add other reasons to why to allow him to get married, we'll go and we'll make it lenient to have not a problem like we saw in the following halachot. What happens if she lost her mind, or what happens if she ran away, and so on and so forth. We have what to rely on. Rabotai, we're going to conclude right now. Now we're going to begin with the next case. I just want to break it down. In the next class, we're going to speak about what happens if you had a boy, a son of a rich man. He married a Jewish maidservant that was working there, and now she doesn't want to get divorced. And he did the kiddushin stage. He did it in front of 2 witnesses, and she doesn't want to get a divorce. Why should she get a divorce? She married the rich guy's son. Why would she want to get divorced? Can he go ahead right now and remarry? And that's where we're going to start seeing. That's why I gave you the dates, guys. That's why we have to know the dates. Who carries more weight, and so on and so forth. In any event, have a great day. Baruch Adonai Olam. Amen. Ve Amen.